I knew I was supposed to start a podcast, but as a creative with many interests, I wasn't sure what kind of podcast to start with. And then God answered me through a dream. Love God, follow your path, and flourish into purpose. You're listening to Self Mastery, the journey of becoming the woman God created you to be. Here, we explore self mastery as a journey, one that shapes every part of your life, your calling, your relationships, your destiny, and the very essence of who you are. Together, we pursue transformation into the image of Jesus while we bloom into the uniquely beautiful and powerful women God designed us to be. And along the way, you'll find flowers for the journey. These are short reflections and gentle reminders in between episodes to carry with you as we continue forward. I'm Alicia Redmond, brand strategist and purpose coach for women entrepreneurs, coaches, and authors, especially those stepping into their second act. I'm also a writer, filmmaker, and a lover of God. Now, if you're ready, let's take a ride. So, let me tell you about this dream. I saw a really cute vintage looking woman's bike. And side note, I love all things vintage. It was sky blue with a woven basket on the handlebars filled with wildflowers. Bright, different kinds and colors, and some were gently spilling over the edge of the basket. It was really pretty. The bike was in front of a blue wall, just a little lighter in color than the bike itself. The bike wasn't leaning against the wall, it was completely upright, as if it were ready to move forward. Above the bike, written clearly in a light colored font, were two words: self mastery. I woke up and I immediately thought, Lord, self mastery? Me? Because for one tiny moment, whatever insecurity I felt about starting a podcast said to me that self mastery was a place of arrival. And I thought to myself, I haven't arrived. People who have arrived should be the ones talking about self mastery. But here's the twist: that's not what I believe in my heart. I believe, as the word says, we all have fallen short of the glory of God. I believe that self mastery is a journey. And that is the truth that rose up to defeat that lie that fear wanted me to act on. And so here I am. Self mastery is a lifelong process, and I'm truly honored that God would entrust this assignment to me. Once I resolved to move forward, I began to think about the bike, and God began to speak to me about it. The bike was a confirmation of the truth that I already believed. Self mastery isn't about arrival, it is about a journey. A bike is essentially a solo vehicle: one seat, one set of handlebars, one set of pedals for one rider. Seeing it brought back the memory of getting my first big girl bike. It was Christmas morning, and it wasn't under the tree the night before, so it was my big Christmas surprise, and I was so excited to see it because I loved bike riding. My dad and I took it outside. He gave me the overview: stay on the seat, keep your feet on the pedals, use the brake when you want to stop. Got it. I hopped on, and after a few tries, with him holding the back of the seat and running alongside me while I pedaled my little heart out, I finally felt steady, and I shouted, "You can let go!" And he yelled back, "I already did." I quickly glanced back at him in disbelief, and he stood there smiling proudly. I turned my face back toward the wind, and I remember feeling this huge sense of accomplishment. I was steering, I was pedaling, and I was making ground, moving forward. No one else could do it for me, and no one else can do it for you. Your journey with God is yours and yours alone, but we can ride together. And while He has equipped us with His Word, His Holy Spirit, prayer, worship, fasting, the armor of God, and more, it's our individual responsibility to learn how to use the equipment, to learn how to pedal, how to brake, how to work the equipment and put His principles into practice. Philippians 2:12 tells us, "Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." That speaks to your responsibility. And here is the best part. We're not really doing it alone. Verse 13 says, "For it is God who works in you, both to will and to act according to His good pleasure." In other words, God helps us to desire and do according to His will. And His will is what we really want. How does He work in us? Through His Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is kind of like the chain on the bike. That chain helps increase your efforts in moving forward. And as long as you continue to move forward, you continue to gain ground and you continue in transformation. So self-mastery is not about relying on your own strength to transform. It's about surrendering and allowing the Spirit of God to lead and guide you into transformation. Taking up your cross daily and being obedient to the Father in your choices. Now, let me share what He told me about the wildflowers. God has given me such a wonderful, beautiful revelation about how He sees us as flowers in His garden, strong and resilient, growing in sometimes adverse environments, but also fragile and delicate. Those wildflowers not only represent us and our different journeys and stories and different phases of growth, but they also represent the wisdom, insight, and knowledge we collect along the way, and that we're able to even give to one another, to share with one another. Self-mastery is about discovering your identity as a divinely created woman and how God sees you as His daughter, as a bride of Christ. It's about really discovering who you are, how God wired you, your likes and dislikes, your talents and gifts, and how those gifts can make room for you. It's about discovering what brings you joy. Do you know, when I ask women that I coach to list 10 things besides family and friends that bring them joy, most of them have a hard time listing just 5. Life is lifing and life is happening, and in the process, we often lose ourselves. It's time to get back to you. I want to leave you with this one last thing. For us, self-mastery relies on these 3 pillars: following the lead of the Holy Spirit, developing the fruit of the Spirit, and number 3, renewing our minds so that we are able to transform into and believe and receive everything that God has planned for us. That's the vision of this podcast. And you are invited to join this community of women as we ride together on this journey, learning, growing, having fun along the way, stopping at times to take in the beauty, resting when we need to, and trusting our Father in heaven to guide us on this path, collectively and individually. Welcome to Self-Mastery. In the next episode, we're going all the way back to the beginning, to the creation of woman in the book of Genesis. We're going to unpack what God's original design for women actually reveals, and I think it might surprise you. When you truly understand how God created woman and what He really meant by the word helpmeet, it has the power to change how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, and understand just how powerfully you were made. If this episode encouraged you, share it with a friend and invite her to join us on our journey. If you're interested in coaching or branding, visit AliciaRedmond.com. Until our next ride, May you enjoy the journey and live your life in full bloom.